In the cold winds of the northern sea, on a lonely island battered by waves, there lived a man who spoke more with God than with men, a man whose prayers pierced the silence, whose holiness drew even wild creatures near, and whose silence echoed through eternity. This is the story of Saint Cuthbert. The vision that changed everything. Saint Cuthbert was born around 634 AD in Lothian, Northumbria. Before he was a monk, before he was a bishop, Cuthbert was a simple shepherd. One night, under a sky filled with stars, he saw something that would change his life forever. A beam of light broke through the heavens, and within it, angels descending, carrying a soul into glory. That night, far away, the holy Bishop Aidan of Lindisfarne had passed from this world. Cuthbert did not yet understand everything, but deep within him, a call had begun, and he answered. The monk of Melrose Abbey. Around 660 AD, he left the fields behind and entered the monastery at Melrose Abbey. There, he embraced a life of prayer, discipline, and obedience. But Cuthbert was not meant to remain hidden. He traveled from village to village, preaching, teaching, and comforting the poor. He walked through storms, crossed rivers, and brought hope to those who had forgotten God. People were drawn not only to his words, but to the peace that surrounded him. The man who prayed in the sea at night when the monastery slept. Cuthbert walked alone into the sea, not for comfort, not for peace, but for battle. The cold cut into his flesh. The waves struck against his body, and still he did not move, because this was not a man escaping the world. This was a man refusing to escape God. And when at last he returned to the shore, two small creatures came to him, otters. They laid at his feet, warming what the world had frozen, as if creation itself whispered, "You are not alone." Harmony with creation. Around 676 AD, Cuthbert retreated to Innerfarne Island, choosing to live alone with God. The winds were fierce. The silence was deep. No crowds, no praise, no comfort, only the presence of God. He left behind the world, not because it was empty, but because his heart had found something greater. He did not leave the world because he hated it, but because he loved God more. And in that silence, even creation drew near. Seabirds gathered without fear. The wild became gentle, as if the world itself recognized a soul completely given to God. The reluctant bishop. When the church called him to become bishop, Cuthbert did not rejoice. He resisted. He, who had conquered the silence, now feared the noise. He, who had found God in solitude, was asked to return to men, and, perhaps for the first time, the battle was not against the sea, but within his own heart. Yet holiness cannot remain hidden, and so he obeyed, not because he desired it, but because holiness is not choosing what we love, but loving what God chooses. into solitude. After 2 years of episcopal service, in 686 AD, he laid aside the burdens of office and returned to his island, to Innerfarne. There, he prepared for the final journey, alone, yet not alone, silent, yet filled with God. A saint beyond death? In the year 687, he gave his soul to God, but his story did not end. When his tomb was opened years later, his body was found, incorrupt, a sign not of death, but of a life fully given to God. Message for today: Cuthbert did not conquer kingdoms. He did not seek greatness, and yet the waves still speak his name. The winds still carry his silence, and the place where he once stood, between the sea and the sky, still whispers, "Be still and know God." World filled with distraction, noise, and endless movement, Saint Cuthbert reminds us, God is found in stillness, not in the crowd, but in the quiet place of the heart, where even the waves fall silent and the soul finally listens. And just like the waves and the wind, your heart can find the same silence and, finally, listen. But even as Saint Cuthbert walked the quiet shores of Innerfarne, there was another soul whose light had shaped the path of Northumbria, a gentle man of prayer, a teacher of kings and shepherds alike, Saint Aidan of Lindisfarne. He would bring the flame of faith to a land in darkness, and his story is the next chapter in the lives of the saints who walked before us. Join us as we journey to Lindisfarne and witness the humble heart that changed a